During the late 1930s, America slowly recovered from the disastrous effects of the economic depression that crippled the country. The American dream, rising from the depths of depression to stardom in America, resonated through every man, woman, and child in the country. One way to realize that dream was to go from a small town in the United States and play in the major leagues. Could it really happen? Yes, it could, and did happen to a young man from the small town of Gastonia, North Carolina, Lawrence Crash Davis. Crash Davis tells us how that dream came true when he joined the major leagues with the Philadelphia Athletics in 1940.
I went right from Duke University up to the Philadelphia A's in 1940. And when I reported to the park there, the attendant knew my name. And when he said, "Welcome, Crash Davis," I was the most elated, happiest guy you've ever seen. Just the fact that I was in the big leagues. And I sat on the bench there for a few days, and we were playing Cleveland, and Bob Feller was pitching. And just to be able to see Bob Feller, and I got to pinch hit a couple of days after I was there, and I didn't hit a home run, but I hit a pop fly to the catcher, which I thought was pretty good. But the big thing I wanted to say is that it was really an inspiring point in my life just to say that you were a big league ball player. And Mr. Mack, Connie Mack, was our manager. And of course, you know, Mr. Mack managed for 50 years. And the reason he managed, he owned the ball club. You know, you couldn't manage for 50 years otherwise. You'd probably get booted out. But I have to tell you a little story. Once I got there, I hadn't signed my contract. So I went up to his office, and he said, "Well, Mr. Davis, I'm going to give you $3,000. I said, "Well, Mr. Mack, I can't play for $3,000. He said, "Well, young man," said, "you can go back home then." I said, "Mr. Mack, I can't because I don't have enough money to get back home on." But the $3,000 back then, that was the 1940s, it didn't compare to some of the salaries you get today. But it wasn't so much the money. It was the fact that I was in the big leagues and all the amenities that go along with that, like being able to sign a slip at the hotel to get free food. And we didn't ride airplanes in those days. We rode on railways, on the Pullmans. And to be able to get on a special car on the railroad track and to have somebody come out and maybe ask you for an autograph, that was the big leagues. It was just inspiring. I mean, see, I came from a small town in North Carolina, Gastonia, North Carolina, and we didn't have TV in those days and a lot of radio either, so it's just a thing you heard a little bit on radio or the things you read in the newspaper. I remember I pinched myself, and I said, "Is this really for real? You know, is this for real? Is life like this for sure?" So it was, to me, I was still in awe, not only putting the uniform on, but that was the days of Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, and just to see those guys was, to me, an inspiration and like a dream. Back in those days, too, you only had 8 teams in each league. You had 16 teams. And so just to be on the team itself was an honor. I never was a star, but at least I made the team, and I was a part of the team, and I felt as if I was a big leaguer.
Crash Davis got his nickname when he collided into a teammate chasing a pop fly ball as a teenager. Crash played for the Philadelphia Athletics from 1940 through 42, hitting .230 with 2 home runs, but he was a big leaguer and could hardly believe that his dream had come true. Crash Davis became even more famous when movie director Ron Shelton cast the highly acclaimed film Bull Durham. Shelton came across the name Crash Davis in an old Carolina League record book and was so taken by the name he asked the real Crash Davis if he could use the name for his main character, a veteran minor league catcher in the movie played by Kevin Costner, after him. Lawrence Crash Davis gladly obliged and became a legendary Hollywood name. Crash Davis, from a little Gastonia, North Carolina town, lived the American dream, reaching heights he could only imagine. U.S. History Through the Eyes of Baseball, brought to you by AmericanInnings.org.